Hello and welcome to another session. We'll be moving on from our previous session where we looked at how to record the macro and execute the macro. And at the tail end of that session, you saw this view here, which was looking a bit strange. And I said we're going to explain what this view, which is typically the VBA editor, the window. So just to run us through what the content of this are, it's if you just try to take a closer look, don't let it overwhelm you with all the different things you're seeing in for the first time. From top left, just as you would for any application, is the file menu, and you move on to edit. These are some popular things that you see on almost every application using your computer. Okay, so the file menu, as you know, you use it to create a file, to open a new one. In this case here, import, that's to open. Export means to save this, to export it as something. You have remove model one, which we'll get into later. Print, these are things you're quite used to. Close and return to Microsoft Excel, that's to return you to the normal Microsoft Excel interface which you're used to. Okay, and here on you have edit. With the edit, you have popular actions which you're already used to. I'm going to leave some of these for you to just explore on your own. So below, just a row below it is the toolbar, which contains some more frequently used actions. So here we easily toggle with the Microsoft Excel application, and then you have this to create a form, and there's a drop down which indicates that there are more options or actions you can take with this. So if you click down on this, so you can see that you can set a user form, a model, a class model, a procedure. These terms are terms that will come familiar with as we progress in the course. Here you can already see this is a save button in the form of a diskette. Okay, and this is grayed out. There's nothing on the clipboard right now, so yeah, there's nothing highlighted. So that was the scissors, which is to cut, and we have this for copy, paste. We know this is to find, control find, and so we have the undo and the redo action. Now you have a play button. Now it gets more interesting. So play button here, you can see run. Okay, run sub slash user form, and there's a keyboard shortcut F5. So basically, when you see the word that description there, run sub or user form F5. So now if you look at this for the first time, I just want you to just take a look at this code base here, and one word that is here is sub. Okay, so that's to run a sub. Uh, in in some spaces, there's something they say catch your sub. That's kind of like throwing shade at someone, say hey catch your sub, or just a little diss like a joke. So in this case here, a way of just telling the computer say catch your sub. So a sub typically contains the block of code that you wish to execute for a particular time. You can call it, it can represent your entire file or application that you're working on, or some other ways that which you will learn to use it. But to run a sub, so is to click on this button here, which looks like the play button to run a sub, or if you were using a user form, which it's like an instance, you could also run that by clicking this. So some other terms I could see in place of the word run, in terms of our usage here, I could say execute. Okay, that's I'm still referring to this. So sometimes you could click this, or you could use the keyboard shortcut of F5. So beside it you have break. So while your code block is being run or it's executing, perhaps it's long, you could pause the execution, okay, to say hey break, for it to pause the execution. You're not stopping it, you're pausing it. Perhaps you want to have a closer look, or you want to make some quick observations, or you're even debugging. And that's another term. So you want to wonder what debugging is. So debugging is, in a nutshell, is trying to figure out what has gone wrong within a block of code or program which you've executed. Up until this time, we're just writing formulas. So you can recall when you try to execute some formulas and it's not giving you the desired output. Sometimes it throws an error, sometimes it doesn't throw an error. You start taking a closer look. Perhaps you're checking, was it a number that was there? Was it the letter? Those things, that whole process, where you're checking, you're thinking. Sometimes you're thinking, you're looking, you're taking a closer look. Those process, those actions put together, they refer to, or they could be classified as debugging. And then you have the stop button, which would stop, and you can see that text there, stop, to for you to start the process again. So you're executing your block of code, but then something is not right, you can just stop for it to reset, so you can do something more to it. Beside it, you have the design mode. So this design mode, you would use it, comes in more handy when you're dealing with user forms, which you saw here. And we're going to get into that as we progress. And these other options in here: project explorer, properties window, object browser window. As we progress, you're going to get more familiar with them. Another thing I just want to quickly um, show up here is, at the left side you have this default view. So here you have toggle folders, and then you have view code, and then there's this bit of view object. We're currently not working on any, for it. That's why it's grayed out. So you can see VBA project. I'm just going to expand this here. So it's showing you the Microsoft Excel objects. In fact, you click to minimize this. So typically here it's showing you the Microsoft objects, all the sheets, okay, all the sheets. I'm just going to toggle to the Excel application, the common window, and we can see our sheets here, which was renamed to represent different months, so January, February, and the likes. If I just toggle back into that view, you can see that the renaming of the sheets is enclosed in parentheses, brackets. However, the sheet name, the original sheet name of sheet 1, sheet 2, and the likes, it's still maintained. So you can see it here: sheet 2, sheet 3. This is going to come in handy when we get into more deeper things, in the course. And then you have for this workbook. So you have for the sheets, which are the worksheets, and then you have for this workbook, which are all as Microsoft Excel objects. Now, all of this here, you could execute your own sub for it, or by default, since we already have one running here, so we have this module. So we have a module here, module 1, which is why we could also insert another module. So what we have, module 1, and this was our macro which we recorded. This is just the code to it. As we progress, we're going to understand more things in detail, what this entails. But here, for this particular video, I just wanted to just have a feel of what the space, the graphical user interface of the VBA editor looks like. So you can just come in here and have a look at it, click around, things you're not clear on. You could ask me, you could look it up. I'm always here to respond to you. Stay tuned for the next session, where we're going to be looking at data types and more interesting stuff. Thanks for sticking around. I can't wait to see you in the next session. Bye for now.